nuclear weapons. Russia is led by a very, very, very intelligent and astute leader. I have to pay tribute to Vladimir Putin tonight, because I was expecting a Turkish invasion of Syria by now. Oh yes, using the aircraft that was down as an excuse. Because NATO is frustrated. They've done everything they could and they've not been able to bring down the regime in Turkey, in Syria. So the next was to invade. But what Putin did in Geneva was a masterly stroke, a master stroke of diplomacy. I am myself a student of international relations, and I was a diplomat for 5 years of my life. So I know something about diplomacy. And what he achieved in Geneva was a master stroke of diplomacy. He has given Syria a breathing space. Hopefully that the bloodletting will now decrease. The United States had to come to agreement with Putin. Yes, that is the brilliance of his diplomacy, that he got the United States to agree with him. And so the first message I have for the Syrian people, all those who want to stop this bloodletting and all these terrorist acts, is you have to be grateful to Russia, which has saved you, at least for the time being, from a Turkish military invasion of the country. The Russian government knows that the Syrian regime cannot survive. It doesn't have religious legitimacy. It doesn't have moral legitimacy. No. It has been an oppressive regime. Oh yes. And so you will have to have a transition to something else. The Russians know that. The answer to the problem now is for the Syrian Muslims to recognize that Putin has given to them an opportunity. And I don't want to speak too much, I have to be guarded in my language. And that is that you must understand who are your enemy. After this lecture you will understand that Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam has prophesied an alliance with Rome, not Rome of the West, Rome of the East. And so you have to make a distinction, a division now. All those in Syria who remain opposed to Zionism and the Zionist state of Israel and the Anglo-American Zionist Alliance and NATO, and all those who are in opposition to NATO, whether you are pro-Assad or anti-Assad, it doesn't matter. You must all now come together in a constitutional conference and work out an agreement for you to come together as one body to oppose these who have come in with Saudi money and Saudi arms and Qatari money and Qatari arms and Turkish money and Turkish arms to fight on NATO's behalf and to fight on behalf of the state of Israel to bring about a regime change in Syria as you did in Libya. This coming together of all the forces in Syria that are anti-NATO can't take place in Syria. No. They'll send every terrorist in the world to bomb the daylights out of you. So Putin has to offer an invitation, even if it's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people, representative of all groups in Syria that are anti-Zionists, all. Whether you're pro-Assad or anti-Assad doesn't matter. And you must all go to Moscow. And in Moscow you have to work out this alliance, not elections. When you work out this alliance, you will bring about a regime change in Syria, which would then be in alliance with Moscow and will allow the Russian naval base in Syria to remain. If this is to take place, it is the ulama of Islam who have to take the lead. And with tears in my heart and tears in my eyes, I have to ask again and again, where are the scholars of Islam? So this malhama will take place in stages, at the end of which you will have the nuclear warfare. That will be the biggest war of all. Any more questions? Yes.